Tisha Solomon, the student pastor at Frisco East. So glad that you're here with us today on Teenager Tuesday, our podcast coming to you, bringing you all kinds of tools to help you as you parent teenagers, which is not always easy. I'm here today with Summer Butler. Summer,
Hi.
thanks for being with us.
Oh my gosh, of course.
Yes, so excited for you. You are here. You are yourself part of a blended family.
Correct.
And you have taken that and decided hey, I want to help other families who are in the same situation as I am. So excited to have you here. I'd love to hear a little bit. I know our listeners would love to hear a little bit about your story.
Yep. Well, I'm here out of experience, not expertise.
Okay.
So we'll correct that real quick. I also grew up in a blended family.
Okay.
So lots of brokenness there.
Yeah.
I feel like stepping into a blended family as an adult was not necessarily something I strived for.
Yeah.
I don't think that growing up as a little girl, you think, I can't wait to be a second wife and a stepmom.
Yeah, probably not, I imagine.
Not at all. But as God would have it, here I am.
Here you are, yeah.
And so I think through the brokenness of my own family of origin, I really learned how I wanted to show up as a step parent.
Love that.
And I think maybe that has not been a struggle for us in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I did not learn how to show up as a wife.
Okay.
And that's kind of been where our wrestle's at.
Yeah.
And blended families tend to draw out a lot of opportunities for growth.
Yeah.
I think the people that are, the people, places, or things that are the thorns in our flesh tend to allow us to focus on where we need to show up different to show the love of Christ.
That's
and so
good.
As part of my really compressed story, because I know we're short on time.
That's okay.
I met Andy, who had two little boys that lived with him full time, about 13 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
And they...
so they're not little anymore.
They are not little anymore. We've had lots of life and lots of experiences. And I think showing up in a way that served me was where I hit a pit.
Yeah.
And God allowed an opportunity that really shifted the way that I looked at blended families and the way I had a relationship with Christ. And so there was a moment that I wanted the glory for all of the work that I had done.
Look what I'm doing.
Look what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I deserve the reward.
Yeah.
And God pulled me off the tollway and said to me, Summer, you are not raising these kids so they grow up and call you their mom. You're raising these kids so they grow up and call me their father.
That's really good.
And it hit me in the gut because it took me a few years to process through that and really understand it wasn't necessarily the title of mom that I had been seeking. That was never my heart, but it was the title of God. That I wanted in their life and in our family dynamics. And that was a big hit to my pride and my ego. And I made a huge shift in that moment. And from that moment on, I started kind of journaling the process of refinement through my book, Blended.
Yes.
Because what I realized was that so many families walk this out in a way that doesn't honor Christ. And that's just part of the process, right? But if I have been pulled off the tollway and told how to do this right, it's my responsibility to show up different for parents that are in the same situation.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I loved what you said where I was trying to be, you didn't say this, but basically you were saying I wanted to be the hero of the story.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but the hero is never me.
Never.
And as Christians,
right,
the only hero we should be pointing people to is to God, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes we just get lost in that a little bit because we are working hard to try to be the best we can be. And I love that quote that says, do what you think is best until you know better and then do better, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that that's just kind of sounds like a little bit of what your story is. And then you also surrendering to God and just saying, God, you take the lead, right?
Yeah.
Well, he was like, hey, Summer, let me take the lead.
Oh, yeah,
right?
I needed to be pulled off. But I think, when we know better, we do better. Yeah. Kind of the same thing you were saying. And now that I know better, it is my responsibility to do better and to help others recognize the stuck spots that they're in.
Yeah.
One of the scriptures along the way that he gave me was in 1 Peter. It's 1 Peter 5, 2 through 4. And it talks about that we are called to be shepherds of the flock that
Yeah.
God places under our care.
Yeah.
And not because we want to lord over it, which is
Yeah.
exactly what I was doing. I was wanting to control everything that was happening in my
Yeah.
home. And there's reasons for that. I had
Yeah.
insecurities.
Right.
I didn't love the past life that Andy had. That
Yeah.
made me feel insecure.
Yeah.
I wanted to control everything going in and out of our home.
Yeah.
And in a blended family, you lose a lot of the control. You do. And so not lording over that flock, which is
Yeah.
what I had been doing,
Yeah.
but instead be eager to serve.
Yeah.
And what he walked me through in the process of understanding that scripture is, first of all, he called me.
Yeah.
He called me to that flock, and I was
Yeah.
to shepherd them to him,
Yeah.
not to myself. But on top of that, I needed to show up eager to serve.
So
And
good.
so, when I realized that the cross covers the sins, and from that point, it is a heart issue.
Yeah.
Right? So if
Yeah.
I believe that Jesus Christ came and covers my sins, right? That
Right.
it's no longer a sin issue, it's a heart issue.
Wow.
And so I have to show up and fix the only person that I can, which is
Right.
me, right?
That's so good.
Pulling me off that tollway really showed me like, hey, look, here's your lane,
Yeah.
here's their lane.
Yeah.
Here's my lane, meaning God.
Right.
And here's how Satan interjects in his lane.
Right.
And if you just stay in your lane
Right.
throughout so many blended family dynamics that come up,
Yeah.
and you just work on your relationship with Christ first,
Yeah.
all the other relationships kind of fall into place.
Yeah.
So you don't show up on that same road that he pulled you off of.
Yes.
You take a whole new street.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's the only one that works.
Yeah.
So that scripture has really kind of been a life verse for me.
I
like
love
to
that.
really understand, look, first of all, I am chosen.
Yeah.
I am called.
Yeah.
I am not to lord over these children. I
Yeah.
am to shepherd them back to Christ. Like
Yeah.
take their hand and not hold on to it, right?
Yeah.
But place it in his.
That's so good.
So that he in the long run gets the glory. And when they leave our home,
Yeah.
they need to know where to turn.
Absolutely.
And it is only to him.
Right.
And
Not
him.
to me.
Not to me.
Yeah.
And we're here to support that and to support
Absolutely.
you through that. But
Right.
it was a really big wake-up call and one that I have really continued to be refined
Yeah.
by. I'm not perfect by
Yeah.
any means. I do think, there's lots of situations that people have questions about blended families. I mean, they're tricky.
Yeah.
There's a ton of dynamics that don't always work.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah. For
So,
sure. Well, what's so crazy is, I mean, I know that your story is blended families.
Yeah.
I get that. But I'm sitting here as a parent of 3 teenagers just soaking in what
Yeah.
you're saying
Yeah.
because I can do this better as a mom.
Right.
Right? It's
Right.
not just about blended families, although that's your wheelhouse and I totally understand
no,
that. But
it's
also,
true.
I'm sitting here like, oh my gosh, I need to be taking
Yeah,
notes right
yeah.
now. This is so good.
Well, it is the truth is the truth no matter what your dynamics are.
Yeah,
right.
for
So
sure.
if we know that the truth is we are to shepherd this flock, that tells me that all children belong to Christ
For
and Christ
sure.
only. Right.
Yeah.
We are only here to shepherd them in a time that
Yeah.
he has placed them here on earth.
Right.
He has their own calling. And if we want to do this intentionally and well, and so I'll back up. We also have an hours child.
Yeah.
So I have a little one too. He's 8.
Okay.
And to show up intentionally in that parenting too
Yeah.
helps me not be so reactive,
Yes.
but respond differently.
great. Yeah.
So if we can just keep in our heads who we are and who we're called to be
Yeah.
as a parent, as an intentional role model
Yeah.
figure in their life,
Yeah.
it takes away this need for, for a me-focused world.
Right.
Really.
Life, family,
all of it.
all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. Listen, I'm sitting here like, okay, I need to read your book.
You're so sweet.
Yeah, this has honestly been really great for me. I love how I think a lot of times parents come to me and with things going on with their teenager and they're just saying like, I can't do this. They say that a lot.
Yes.
And one of the ways I always respond is like, man, if God's called you to this and this is the reality of your world, he's equipping you
Correct.
with everything. He's not going to leave you hanging. And sometimes I think that we're trying to figure out how that equipping is coming our way or what that looks like or how we what are the tools that we need to feel equipped and to be equipped,
Yeah.
But I think just remembering like, hey, if this is what God has called us to, he's not leaving us hanging. He's equipping us to be the best whatever he's put in front of us, right?
Well, I love that. And it kind of gives me an idea for some upcoming stuff that we could talk about.
I love it.
You know, I think we need to realize that teenagers have not fully developed.
Yeah,
so when we understand the capacity of what they're capable of doing and processing, sometimes it helps us respond differently.
Absolutely.
But also, I fully believe that every behavior meets a need.
Yeah.
And so if we can look at the unmet needs behind the behaviors, we can start to approach those differently.
Yeah.
Another is, you know, we are all just created so uniquely by Christ.
Yeah.
And so uniquely as we are created, we are and need to be uniquely loved.
Yeah.
Right? It's never
That's
an equal thing. And so if we can figure out what a love language is for a teenager and maybe meet that, you know, in a way that we haven't shown up for before, there's a connection piece that we can start to
bridge that gap.
So.
Oh, that's so good. Summer, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having
You're going to be with us for a few more weeks. I'm so excited to deep dive and have more conversations with Summer over the next few weeks about this. We'll see you next week. We're so excited. Listen, parents, thanks for tuning in today. Listen, you're not alone. You can do this. God is with you, and so are we. We'll see you next time.